What up, bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Air Warriors Ultratech Cyclonic. This thing, 20-round, fully automatic, magazine-fed blaster that is compatible with Nerf In-Strike magazines. Let's get to the review. Included is the blaster itself, the magazine, and some darts. Now let's go over the externals and the function in a bit more detail, starting up with this thing. Because it's not a Nerf gun, of course, it doesn't take the Nerf barrel attachments, but this thing is kind of cool. When you halfway pull down the trigger, it spins. Not going to help with the performance again, but it looks really cool. I haven't seen a switch to turn it off, so it seems like you have to leave that thing on, even though it's not helping anything. That noise is not only the barrel moving, it's also the flywheel spinning. This is a fully automatic blaster that's flywheel powered, so when you halfway pull down the trigger, the flywheels start revving up, so that's part of the noise. But moving back, there are no In-Strike tactical rails or rails on the blaster of any kind. This is the magazine. This is compatible with Nerf mags, just like the other Ultratech blasters, but it's not a Nerf mag. It's an Air Warriors mag, but it has a very similar top end, so you can put this magazine into Nerf guns, take Nerf mags and Nerf darts, and put it into this Air Warriors blaster. Oh, Coop, I don't believe you. Boom, done. Myth confirmed. The magazine well is just in line with the other Ultratech blasters. The magazines are identical. This is a 20-round mag that was identical to the Brute mag, and it slides in just like the other Ultratech blasters. And again, following the theme of the Ultratech line, this is the magazine release. It's fully ambidextrous, you know, gotta go ambi for you left-handed people. It's not really conventional, and it takes a little getting used to, but I think it works just fine. Not really my favorite type of mag release, but it works fine. Moving back to the grip, it is a little bit small, but because it's not like a Springer and because you don't really have to have much dexterity without a rev switch, it's not that big a deal. And yeah, there's no rev switch, just like the Brute and I think all the other Air Warriors flywheel blasters. You just halfway pull down the trigger and that's how you rev. There's kind of pros and cons to that. Some people like it, some people don't. I wouldn't say it's objectively better or worse than a dedicated rev trigger, but it is what it is. And it works pretty well. The draw of the trigger is so long that it's pretty easy to just halfway pull down. You know, so if you're trying not to fire, it's not like you're gonna accidentally have a negligent discharge or anything. And since this has a really cool rotating barrel, I can totally see you wanting to just run around doing this without actually firing. How to pollute audio really fast. Because it's flywheel, of course, it runs on batteries. The battery tray is over here. It runs on 4 AA alkaline batteries. And in this back, no stock attachment point or anything, so you just gotta hold it like this, pew pew. Overall ergonomics are pretty comfortable. When it's spinning, I wanna put my hand all the way up on here instead of just holding it down here like a little wimp, but it's rotating. And I feel like I'm gonna break it if I do that. As far as ergonomics go, that's kind of a complaint there, but other than that, it works pretty well. So firing is just like other flywheel blasters. You put in batteries, you put in darts, put in the magazine, and you pull the trigger. Insert firing test here, brackets. Air Warrior darts. Nerf Elite darts. Firing the blaster is pretty fun. I think it's more bark than bite, as it's said. It's loud, it spins, it has a light on it. It's pretty cool, but then it doesn't shoot all that hard. Chroned it with the Air Warriors darts, and I got an average of 63 feet per second over 10 darts, and then I chroned it with Nerf Elite darts for a more direct comparison to the Nerf line, and got an average of 68 feet per second. Spoiler to the other Air Warriors reviews, Elite darts have been consistently getting better chrono readings, so that separation isn't anything to worry about, but it is shooting a little bit softer than some other Nerf blasters. And how I chrono full auto blasters, I let the motors rev all the way up to the peak RPM before I pull the trigger again. When you go full auto, you can kind of see the first one shoot pretty fast, and then the other ones kind of drag back a little, which is pretty normal for full auto blasters. And that's because the flywheels are spinning, and when a dart goes through, they get kind of bogged down and they have to build back up. But when you just keep wrecking it, it doesn't have as much time to get back up to the max RPM, so the range drops a little. Pretty ordinary here for flywheel blasters, but now to my opinion on this blaster, I didn't have anything go wrong with the blaster. It worked just fine, and for a full auto off-brand blaster, it wouldn't be that unusual for something to break or malfunction or jam. I didn't have any jams. But the slightly lower chrono readings and this unnecessary spinning part that's drawing current from your batteries, so you're gonna have to replace your batteries more often than if this thing wasn't there. I'm not really sure why you would buy this over the Air Warriors Brute if you're like dedicated on Air Warriors blaster or a Rapid Strike. I'm a big fan of the Brute. I think that blaster is pretty solid. This blaster is kind of like a weirder version of it. You could argue, oh, it's a little bit smaller, but the spinning thing just isn't my style. So this is one of those review opinions that's kind of completely based on how I approach the game, and I don't really want this thing spinning and lighting up, but if you're into that, it works just fine, and it shoots, I mean, pretty well. With the Air Warriors darts, it does have a noticeably lower velocity than some other Nerf blasters, so you will notice it, but if you're really into the cosmetics, I can recommend it because it didn't jam or anything, and there are no objective reasons to not recommend it. But it's my opinion because it's my opinion, and you're welcome to have a different opinion. But I would recommend the Brute if you're after an Air Warriors blaster or look into a Rapid Strike. That's a full auto flywheel blaster, pretty similar. Or the Hyperfire, completely forgot about that. And I have two of them right there. But the advantage of AA's, it's a little bit lighter and much cheaper to run. But yeah, it takes Nerf mags and Nerf darts, and you can put these mags into Nerf blasters, so it's not like you have to commit to the Air Warriors line. So worth checking out if you're at all interested in it. Hopefully my firing and chrono kind of speak for themselves and let you know what you need to know whether or not you'd like to purchase it. That concludes the review. I'll put a purchase link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay tactical.